We don't got time for an intro. This thing's almost done. I want to drive it. Let's finish it! Hey, you know that thing that protects you from fire? Called the firewall? Yeah, I'm gonna drill a hole in that. Then, I'm gonna stuff this handy dandy little electrical disconnect in said hole. This is the main power feed from the alternator to the battery, and having it on a quick disconnect is gonna be really handy for the 5 times a year I pull the motor. Pop, just like that, connected. My old rearview mirror was cracked, and I need a mirror to see all those people I'm passing on track. Had to build a few extra brackets, but got the mirror in there all nice. Hi, past me. Previously, I had a Raspberry Pi as my gauge cluster. That worked okay, but in the name of upgrades, I grabbed this Haltech IC7 Dash and stuffed it in with some zip ties. Can't wait to play with this thing. So this is a major milestone. The battery's all wired in. There's no ECU wired in yet, so I can't test any of that, but most of the essential wiring is done, or at least enough that I can throw the main power switches and see if anything catches on fire. So, fingers crossed, let's try. Alright, step 1, we'll throw the essential switch. Should hear the power steering click on. Yep, alright, that sounded good. Step 2, let's throw avionics, which would be ECU, but I think it's just going to be wideband. Yep, okay, so wideband's powering on. And then we'll throw the dash switch and we'll see if the Haltech wakes up. Haha, and it works. Sweet. I don't think anything caught on fire, so cool. Let's keep cracking on. To celebrate not burning the car down, I rolled under the car and played in fuel. I changed the fuel filter. I also relocated my E85 sensor to a cleaner location out of sight. Now that I know all the fuel was on the floor and on me instead of in the tank, I stepped up my fuel pump from a Walbro 255 to a Walbro 350. If you're wondering why so big a pump, well, it's kind of self-explanatory when I remove my ID 1050 injectors and install some ID 1700s. Big pump, big injectors, and big money on AN fittings that I immediately turned into AN fuel lines. One of the reasons I stayed with a manual transmission is that I actually like rowing through the gears. But I'm also very particular about how the shifter feels. With the Miata transmission, I had a G-Racing short shifter. It was short, it was tight, it was like racking a shotgun with every single shift, and I loved it. I wanted to retain that same kind of feel with the CD09, so after a lot of research, I picked up this strike fast short shifter. Let's drop this thing in. When I had first test fitted the transmission, I thought I might not have to trim the shifter hole, but I did have to slightly. Alright, first shift. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. I'm just now realizing I don't know where reverse is in this thing. I'll have to Google it and figure it out. But I think I'm gonna like this. Ugh. Sorry, just, daydreaming. This working on car stuff, it can get pretty tiring after a while. I might need a break. I'm gonna go to Gridlife to relax. Hi, we're here at Warm Dry Carolina Motorsports Park.
for Gridlife. The weather is perfect. Couldn't ask for more.
I want to thank Randy for inviting me along to crew for him at Gridlife. I have to repay him for what he did to my windshield.
Just like my windshield.
Randy chose this moment to try and figure out why his car felt so slow, and found out his tired motor was down over 100 horsepower from its peak.
Car's just fucked. Tune's fucked. AFRs are fucked. Everything's fucked, okay?
Just got back from Gridlife. I am very tired, also very sunburned. It was a fantastic time helping crew for somebody else's car, but next year I think I want to do it in this car, which means that I need to finish this car. Let's get back to it. Last year, I equipped this car with a Mark 60 E5 ABS system that I lifted off a BMW. It was located in the engine bay, right next to the exhaust. This year, some genius decided that the interior of the car would be a great place to relocate the ABS module to, both to keep it away from the hot exhaust and to help keep weight more central in the car. However, this meant that I had to rebuild every brake line in the car from scratch, and doing a lot of tricky bends. Whoever decided to do this relocation was an idiot. While I was working on brake stuff anyway, I replaced both rear calipers as they were several years old and the seals in them were on the edge of exploding. With the system completely plumbed came the joyous task of bleeding them. First, by filling and pumping the pedal the conventional way, but since this is a German-designed ABS system, I had to break out the laptop to fully bleed them, because the Germans always know the best. So this is what you gotta do right here. Use Google Translate to read the software, because it's all in German and I don't speak any German. While a wake up and recalibration of the ABS unit went fine, the brake pressure sensor reading the right rear caliper kept dropping pressure much faster than the other channels, indicating a possible leak. Oh, and I also heard dripping noises from somewhere under the car. I definitely hear a leak. After fixing that leaky right rear, haven't had any leaks. Now we're holding pressure. Mint. Oh, it's red. I did something wrong. Whoops. Let's try that again. Front left shift. Alright, brakes are all bled. Most of this cockpit is back together. What's next? With a quick mount whipped up to hold my switch panel and aim data system, the cockpit was really starting to feel like home again. Minus the passenger seat, everything critical was installed.
Are
Are you sure about that?
Most of the electronic stuff, aside from the ECU, is done. There's no ECU.
My fucking oil pan is leaking. It's not leaking from where you would expect, though. You see that little spot? That was just like a gash in the pan that I'd welded, and my weld is leaking. So, yay. Alright, that hole's all patched up. I'm not going to show you it because it is ugly, but it's holding. Where were we?
All right, let's do this one last time.
That was something. Fuck yeah! Hell yeah! All right. Fuck yeah! Oh, you guys have no idea how great that feels to know that this thing actually runs. It doesn't run great. There's a lot of tuning to be done. That's literally just a thrown together bass mat. And I'm pretty sure that intake cam is stuck at full advance, which is why it sounds absolutely gnarly. But it runs. I think that's gonna about do it for this episode. From here on out, it's really just me punching in numbers into the computer and making everything play nice with each other. So I think that next time I pick up this camera, I'm gonna have axles and a drive shaft, which means that this thing can go from just running to running and driving. So yeah, that's gonna be fun. So Till then. And just like, check this out. I'm literally bleeding coolant right now without the engine running because electric water pump. That is pretty sick if you ask me. I need bubbles for effect.